thing just materialized right here.
Okay. How's your clock look? On time?
Oh, John. It's still there. I just fell over a chair.
How's your razor? How's your razor?
Oh,
Leave on piano?
they give me an electric razor.
Okay, very good. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City of Parker Council meeting. Because a lot of you are new here tonight, I want to make you aware that this entire room is recorded and videotaped. It's done for the record. Anyway, if anybody please stand, call the room to order. Mr. Chapel.
We got it right here, Bob.
Yeah, I'm sorry, you're going to do the flag. Go ahead.
Okay. Father, we're so thankful that we can call on you in time and ask you for your wisdom, your guidance, and direction. Tonight we ask you to come in this room, God, and be our wisdom, our guidance, and direction. God, let our words be acceptable as we give them tonight. Be with us now, and to thee we give the praise and honor for this. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Want to be Brother Chapel?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Everybody please be seated. Before we start our meeting tonight, you call the roll, please, ma'am.
Certainly. Miss Farrell? Here. Miss Potterford? Here. Mr. Chappell?
Here.
Mr. Haney?
Here.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes, here. Before we start our meeting tonight, Mr. Sloan would like the floor. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the items that'll be the first item on the agenda, I just wanted to remind the council that this will be a quasi-judicial proceeding. In that proceeding, you will have individuals that will be sworn and testify before you, and based upon the comments and the record which we will go into at the time, you'll have all of that to make your decision on whether or not to issue a development permit on the application that is pending. The application is an application from December 19, 2024. It is a new application from that date. It has nothing to do with the old application. The old application will be superseded by your decision tonight. So as you move forward with the quasi-judicial proceeding, the first thing that you would want to do would make a disclosure on the record whether you've had any direct communications with the applicant since the filing of the application. Anybody have any direct communications with the applicant? Okay, there appear to be none. So Mayor, you would want to identify all the witnesses.
Every witness is going to testify. Will you please stand, take your oath? Nobody else? We're going to do this once. Okay, Madam Clerk.
All right. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you were going to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
And
Appreciate
just
you.
for purposes of the record, Mayor, you have a large stack of documents in front of you that includes the application from December of 19 of 2024.
Sir.
In there, it includes the recommendation from the city's planning commission. The city planning commission heard this on February the 4th and made the recommendations that are contained in that document. You also have various iterations of the engineering reports that have come from your engineer. All of those reports, I believe there may be 5 of them, are in the record. You also have all of the documents that were before the Planning Commission on the 4th. In the record would also be the video from the Planning Commission meeting.
Correct.
And tonight, if there's any further proceedings,
Correct.
would include the record from tonight. In addition, you have been presented with various documents. The first one being a 3-page document with city council meeting tonight at the top. That would be in the record. You also have another packet which is dated at the bottom, dated today, which attaches to it an application for development permit that is not the one that's being considered tonight, and a small note on top. And then you also have a large binder which has been presented to you just immediately before this meeting, which obviously none of you
Mr. Parker, are you in the room?
have time to read.
You gave the clerk a document. Is it prudent to this, what we're about to hear?
I do not believe that has anything to do with the quasi-judicial meeting, sir.
That's what you're holding,
Okay,
Mr.
so-
Sloan.
so It was given to me as it applied. If that doesn't
Madam
apply,
Clerk?
then that would not be a part of the record.
That would be under, items from the audience, I would think.
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
So, at this point in time, Mayor, I recommend that you go ahead and allow the applicant to come and testify, and then anyone in the audience that wants to cross-examine the applicant can do that.
So we're gonna go out of sequence of our agenda then, that's what you're telling me, right? We're gonna jump from 1 to 2.
No, sir, this is one.
Approval of the minutes is 1.
Oh, okay, all right.
So,
So you could go ahead and do that, Mayor. I was down to the substantive stuff.
okay. First regular agenda item is the approval of the minutes in your package. Item 1.
I wanna make a motion to approve December 17th, December 20th, 4 p.m., December 20th at 5:01, December 27th, and January 7th of 2025.
Good. Very good. We have a motion. We have a second, Madam Clerk.
Okay, Ms. Sparrow?
Yes.
Ms. Potterford? Yes. Mr. Chapel?
Yes,
Mr. Haney?
Here.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Ms. Bundy, I'd like to say these are very good, short, to the point, and I really like putting the approval of the minutes on the agenda
Thank you.
item.
That's right.
Item 2 is I can't pronounce that word. Re-election of Mr. Terry Stryker, which I don't think he's here tonight. He's out of town. The council has been through the planning council, so
So you asking for a motion to?
yeah, we need a
reappoint?
motion and a second.
Motion.
I'll make
Got a motion made, need a second?
a motion.
Got a motion and a second and a motion, apparently. All
Well,
in
I mean, I
favor?
thought, didn't did somebody say who's second?
Madam
Oh.
Clerk, you call the roll?
Ms. Sparrow?
Yes.
Ms. Potterford? Yes. Mr. Chapel?
yes.
Mr. Haney?
Yes.
Mayor Kelly?
Yes, thank you, ma'am. I'm glad he came back. Okay, Mr. Sloan, you're up.
Now
Item
we're
3.
down to the first substantive item that I was discussing.
The
a
meat
minute
of
ago,
why we're here.
which is the planning board recommendation and the application for development permit at 909 West Street, Coastal Acquisitions of Florida LLC. And you have the recommendation of the planning commission, and the various documents of the record that I identified earlier. And so if the applicant, Mayor, if you're ready for the applicant, he can come up and testify.
Absolutely. It's Mr. Santoro.
Good afternoon. Philip Santora, North Star Engineering, and also the owner of All Metal, or Coastal Acquisitions of Florida. I am here today before you to request approval of my development order of the same set of plans that we have previously been approved for, but under your new LDR.
Are you referring to the ordinance that was passed last year, amending the comprehensive plan and the ordinance that amended the land development regulations?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, if the council will remember what Mr. Santoro is talking about is, in the original application he filed, which is not for consideration tonight, in the original one, there were variances that had to be requested, and which Mr. Santoro did, and then the council granted those variances.
They did.
At this point in time, there are no variances for the construction as being submitted in the development order application of Mr. Santoro, and so those issues are no longer relevant to the city at this point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Sloan.
All So you would ask, anyone want to cross-examine Mr. Santoro?
Yes, sir.
You need to state your name and address for the record.
Should I go to the podium as well, or how do you handle this, Mr. Sloan?
Yeah.
Yeah, at the
Mayor.
podium, be there, because it's recorded that way and it's on the record.
You're still up here, sir.
I understand.
Okay, thank you. My name is David Theriak in Spain, Tallahassee, Florida. I'm an attorney representing Paul Parker. I just have a couple questions. Paul Palmer. Did I say Parker again? I just renamed the city. It's Friday night. This is the first quasi-judicial hearing in 33 years I've ever had on a Friday night. So you may.
We only have them on Fridays. No, I'm lying to you. Go ahead, brother.
Sir, did you say your last name Santori or Santora?
Santora.
Santora. My name's Theriak, so it gets butchered a lot. At the Planning Commission, I believe you stated that some of the deliveries that would be coming to your property may have more than 4 axles and would be driving on the city streets. Do you recall that testimony?
Yes.
Is that accurate?
Yes.
As you stand here today, are you willing to commit that all deliveries to the subject property will have no more than 4 axles when they're on a city street?
No.
And this is a new application. If the city council approves your new application, do you agree that the application that was approved originally, I believe it was March 7th, 2024, is null and void?
No.
What do you think the status of that original application is?
I have an approval.
So tonight, if you get an approval with the new application, is it your position that you have 2 different development orders for the same property?
I have the same approval twice.
Okay. Thank you. No other questions.
Thank you, sir.
Just for purposes of the city, I want to make sure the council is clear. This is a new application.
Right.
And with your consideration of this application.
Yes.
The original application, from the city standpoint is
Null and void, yes.
at this point.
Would anybody else like to come to the podium?
No, we're crossing.
Would anybody else like to come to the podium?
And to cross-examine Mr. Santoro.
Okay, thank you, sir. Have a seat.
You need to call the next witness.
Yep. Are there anybody else, or is there any other witnesses that would like to come to the podium?
Okay, Mr. Mayor, council members, city attorney, my name is David Theriak. I represent Paul Palmer.
Yes, sir.
And I have one witness that I'll call. That is going to be Paul. But before I call Paul, I have a procedural issue that I would like to raise. We respectfully submit that it is inappropriate to conduct tonight's special meeting on this new application. As you all know, the Planning Commission met on Tuesday. The notice of the Planning Commission was published on Monday, provided 1 day's notice. The notice for tonight's City Council meeting was published last Friday, January 31st. And just so I can make sure my record is clear, there is a list of my 18 exhibits as the first page in my 3-ring binder. And Mr. Mayor, if you could bear with me, I need to make sure that the record reflects what my documents are that I've asked to be put into the record.
Okay,
if
sure.
I proceed with any further litigation.
By all means.
Thank you. My number 1 is the notice of hearing for City Council meeting on February 7, 2025, published on January 31, 2025. My exhibit 2 is notice of hearing for Planning Commission meeting on February 4, 2025, published on February 3rd, 2025. Exhibit 3 is section 6-1.6 of the city's land development regs. Section number 4 is section 6-3.5 of the city's land development regulations. Exhibit 5 is section 3-3.3 of the city's land development regulations. Exhibit 6 is section 3 of the City of Parker's charter. Exhibit 7 is ordinance number 2024-421. Number 8 is the Planning Commission's Development Order Application Decision and Recommendation dated February 4, 2025. Number 9 is our submittal review comments dated January 29, 2025. Number 10 is Coastal Acquisitions of Florida LLC's application of development permit dated December 19, 2024. 11 are the site construction plans revised on January 22nd, 2024. Number 12 is the amended complaint for declaratory and injunctive relief dated June 10, 2024. 13 is the amended petition for writ of certiorari dated July 29, 2024. 14 is the transcript of the City Council's public hearing held on March 7, 2024. Number 15, the transcript of the Planning Commission's public hearing held on February 27, 2024. 16 is a petition for variance application dated February 28, 2024. 17 is an easement dated March 7, 2024. And 18 is a screenshot of city files loaded on February 6, 2025, which was yesterday. As an initial matter, while it is correct that the city has the authority to conduct a special meeting on 1 day's notice, it doesn't have the authority to conduct a quasi-judicial hearing on 1 day's notice. I respectfully submit that violates procedural due process. I've handed out 2 cases, both to the mayor and to the city attorney. The first one is Carillon Community Residential versus Seminole County, and I've highlighted a few quotes that are in there. The core, and I'm quoting on page 9, paragraph 1 through 3 is the head note. The core of due process is the right to notice and an opportunity to be heard. Due process is a flexible concept and requires only that the proceeding be essentially fair. And then the next page talks about due process depends on the function of the proceeding as well as the nature of the interest. The second case was Florida Water Services Corporation versus Robinson. On page 1039, a participant in a quasi-judicial proceeding is clearly entitled to some measure of due process. The issue of what process is due depends on the function of the proceeding as well as the nature of the interests affected. A quasi-judicial hearing is a hearing at which both the applicant and participants have an opportunity to be heard, have an opportunity to present evidence, have an opportunity to call witnesses. For example, I would have had time to hire an engineer or a groundwater expert if we were provided more than 5 business days notice for tonight's quasi-judicial hearing. I respectfully submit that the notice that was provided for tonight is not essentially fair. And candidly, I don't understand it. There is no emergency. Your plan amendment became effective in early January. You could have scheduled the Planning Commission in January. You could have scheduled the City Council meeting in January. For some reason, somebody decided to wait until Monday to advertise a Planning Commission meeting on Tuesday and waited until Friday to notice tonight's hearing. It befuddles me that the city would proceed that way. So my first issue, which you can easily cure, which is to renotice this at a later date to provide adequate time for participants to be able to obtain expert witnesses to present testimony tonight. Another issue along the same line, I know Mr. Sloan said he had just gotten my three-ring binder. I had 4 days to put together my 3-ring binder, make copies for you all, and come over here today. So that's why you got it tonight instead of a few nights before the hearing, because of the incredibly compressed time frame. So our initial argument is that we ask the council to renotice this for a reasonable time frame. Whether it's a week from now or 10 days from now, there's just no reason to give focus that legal argument in circuit court.
Mr. Thuriak, how long have you represented Mr. Palmer?
I believe it was,
Approximately 6 months?
no, I believe it was February 2024. I represented,
A year and a portion, a year and a month, yeah.
Mr. Palmer contacted me before the planning commission meeting,
Yeah.
and then I had a medical issue and I wasn't able to attend the city council meeting in March, and I've represented Mr. Palmer in the 2 lawsuits that are pending in circuit court. So I hope that answers your question, sir.
It does.
My second issue is I'm going to call Mr. Palmer. I have just a couple questions that I want to ask him, and so that's in the record. Mr. Palmer, could you please come to the podium? Please,
Already been sworn in.
please state your name and address.
Paul Palmer, 1135 West Street.
How close is your property to the subject property?
Let's see. Quarter mile? Not even a quarter, like 200, yeah. 2.2, point 0.3.
Mr. Palmer, do you recognize the amended complaint for declaratory injunctive relief that you filed in circuit court?
Yes, sir, I do.
Have you read paragraphs 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29, and 30 of the
Yes,
complaint?
yes, sir, I have.
Are you testifying, well, let me state, there was a typo in paragraph 28. It says you started as a planning commissioner in 2015. That's 2018, correct?
Correct.
With the exception of that correction, as you stand here under oath, are you testifying that the statements that you have in this amended complaint in paragraphs 22 through 30 are true and accurate?
Yes, sir, they are.
That's all the questions I have for Mr. Palmer. He may have a brief statement that he wants to make. I believe he has a petition that he may want to hand out as well.
Thank you, Mr. Thuriak.
Mr. Mayor,
Appreciate
thank you
your
for your
time.
patience.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, council members.
Mr. Palmer, you have the podium.
Thank you, sir. So I have before me, how many were there, Don? 25 petitions that basically state, we support ordinance 2024-421 that limits delivery vehicles of no greater than 4 axles for light manufacturing facility on city streets. So that's the topic I present. Who do I give these to?
City clerk.
City clerk?
Yeah.
There are more that have come in through via email, so you may find more that will be in your email when you check, but I don't know if they got here in time for the meeting. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but they would not be part of the record, Mr. Palmer, because it's only whatever is in front of the
Right now, yeah.
council at this point in time, when they make their decision. Okay.
So can I read
You
the
can't,
emails
you
to
can't add them after the fact. and
Right.
Okay, but even if they arrived in time before the meeting?
If they have not been presented to the council here, I don't know when they got here.
They should have gotten here before 5. One particular was from Ray Waters, who was the caddy corner.
Yeah.
He's up in Georgia, they're celebrating.
Some people have called and said that they felt like you pushed them into doing it.
Well,
The bottom line is, if the
Mr.
council doesn't have it before them, it's
Right.
not part of the record.
okay.
And Mr. Mayor, in closing, yep, we're done. Exhibit 9 are your submittal review comments. Number 5 are your staff comments regarding the application on January 29, 2025. Page 2 are the planning review comments. And in the planning review comments, it says this parcel should be constructed with an access road into the site for 4-axle vehicles making deliveries. Please revise site plan to comply with this requirement. So your own planning review comments pointed out the problem with the 4 axles being driven on city streets. And that's also reflected in the Planning Commission's recommendation that there were remarks made by the applicant, and again reasserted tonight, that delivery trucks will have more than 4 axles, and that is a direct violation of ordinance 2024-421 under section 4-5.4.3 conditional uses. A1, in any sub-area of the CRA, the property must have direct vehicular access to a state or federal road or highway without the use of any city streets for deliveries by vehicles having more than 4 axles, such as deliveries of raw materials or finished products. It was argued at the Planning Commission that that's an operational issue that could be addressed by code enforcement later on. I respectfully submit that that is an issue for whether or not you can grant approval of this site plan when the applicant has already admitted before he even begins operating that he's not going to comply with this requirement in the city's land development regulations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say to the city council? If you do, please come to the podium.
Wayne Gwynn, 924 Pitts Avenue, here in Parker. And I'd like to say that I support the ordinance 2024-421 that limits delivery vehicles to 4 axles on the city streets of Parker.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else, please come to the podium. We're good. You can line up. That's fine.
Chuck Boterford, 5405 Fleming Street. There seems to be some issue about some axles or something on trucks. I'm not real sure. I've not read any legal documents or know what's going on, but whether the truck has 6 axles, 4 axles, 5 axles, 3 axles, 2 axles, there are laws set up for this. There are bridge laws too, but the main thing is the laws is that the weight cannot exceed 22,000 pounds per axle. So if you have 1 axle or 32 axles, the same weight is still being put on the ground per axle. That's 22,000 pounds per axle. So it doesn't matter the axles. I don't really understand what this problem is with the axles. It's the same amount of weight is getting distributed the same. And unless a truck is grossing 80,000 pounds, which is allowed by the state of Florida, then the more axles, the less weight per axle. If that makes sense to anybody.
This is the distribution of the load, yeah?
Correct. I'm not real sure what the problem is about the axles, but there are laws protecting that with weights. And the gross vehicle weight in the state of Florida, no matter what, unless you have a permit for overweight, is 80,000 pounds, regardless of the axles.
And can I ask how you know the history when it comes to
I was in the trucking
trailers?
business in the 70s and 80s and early 90s.
Okay. So you have history with tractor trailers and
Yes.
how the weight is dispersed?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir? Yeah, by me.
Gary Hard, 725 West Street, here in Parker. I'm here, I guess, more as a character witness, if you will. And I'm a bit flummoxed by all the hoopla and the amount of minutia that I see strewn about. But I don't really understand why there's a problem. Yes, I now understand that it's a new application, but the old one went through and everything's hunky-dory, and I'm not sure if there's that big a variance or a difference between the first and the second. My apologies for not studying up on that. But I just want to say that if they come into Parker, they will be a plus for the community. One, selfishly, I look at it from a tax base improvement. I'll take all the help I can get. I've also personally done business with his company, and the folks in his office are some of the nicest, most accommodating people who will enhance the overall ambiance of the city, if you will, as far as people coming in and doing business in his facility. And as the axle thing, I thought that was pretty cool information. And my thinking is, at tops, it's going to be 100 yards off the main road. details, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to say I'm for him. I apologize that it's taken you forever and a day to get to this point, and we're still dancing and jumping through hoops and dealing with minutia. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Wait.
Sir?
Mr. Dariak, do you have any questions for that gentleman?
No, sir, thank you.
What is minutia?
We'll send you an email.
Send me an email. Send me an email. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Did you get sworn in, Mr.?
He did not.
Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, so help me God. The 4-axle, 5-axle
Name and address,
thing,
Mr. Brandon.
it's been brought up, and the reason it's not
Sir,
an
we
issue-
need your name and address on the recorded
Gary
line.
Brannon, 1034 Brannon Place.
Thank you, sir.
5-axle trucks go down 98 because it's not Parker, it's not a city street, so we know that. That's why they're allowed. And like he said, the same weight is just distributed different if it's got 5 axles or 4 axles. Mr. Santora said he has no way of knowing if a truck's coming with 4 or 5. He was honest about it. He didn't say, okay, then they're all going to be 4. He could have said that. But if he does, and a 5-axle truck comes in, some of these people here are going to be sitting there with cameras taking pictures, videos of it. You know, they're going to be going, citizens arrest, citizens arrest. So I respect that he doesn't know if it's going to be a 4 or a 5. I don't know if there's a way to get a variance that they can go down certain streets with 5-axle trailers, but it looks like him and his lawyers don't have a conflict with the building so much anymore. They're fine-tuning this down to an axle. In other words, everything else is good to go with this building. It's been, the planning has approved everything on their end. Now they're kicking the can down the street about an axle. It's about an axle. It's about an axle. We need to dig more holes, more holes. We need to check the land over and over and over. I've had people in this city tell me that they think that this is about a bunch of good old boys in the city, because if y'all vote for it, it's because y'all are getting kickbacks or something. You know, everybody's getting something.
Minutia.
Yeah, minutia. And
That's what I'm getting.
I got to tell you that when I am for things that are right, like this or any other thing in the city, I do get a kickback. And my kickback is blessings from God for standing up for people that are doing the right things.
Amen.
Every time I get a blessing, I go, it's because I've done something right. And I don't ask for them. Just when I'm blessed, I think about it. And when things go bad, I go, oops, that must have been something I didn't do right. But this is about blessings and doing right things and not kickbacks. We don't get no kickbacks. In the city, people don't realize when he sues the city, he's suing all the citizens. The citizens are the city. Y'all aren't the city. Y'all work for the city. We vote you in. The city is, what, 2,500 people that live in this town, right? Somewhere along that. That's the city. The city. And most people are for this, because you don't see a whole lot of people up here that are saying they don't want this. It's just the limited few. They want to kick the can down the street and dig more holes, and they want to look for extra axles. So I'm for them. I want them to come in. I hope that this goes through and we can be done, lay this to bed and watch construction going. Anyway,
Thank you, Mr. You come to the podium, please.
I would like to address those issues in kind of a friendly way. As you are aware, that I was here on the Planning Commission when the first presentation was made for the Coastal Metal Building. And in that presentation, there was lots of questions. I presented a slideshow detailing where the particular application was in non-compliance with both the comp plan and the LDR. We did vote against recommending that for approval. Mr. Santora was a little bit surprised. He had said something to the statement that I was under the impression that I could do what I wanted to do, which is okay. But he did make something important as he was talking about the people of Parker and his building. He basically said, I'm not going to do anything that's going to hurt your city. I would not do anything differently than I would treat my own city. Now, I would bring to the commission the comment that there is a pretty big difference between having semi-trailers, 18-wheelers, coming down our Parker streets versus having the 4-axle streets. We're not and so therefore, you said you would not do anything to our little town that you wouldn't do to your own town. Well, would you like me driving semi-trailers down through your house on Bay Point? I don't think so. So I'd like to put things in perspective. You know, the commission went to a lot of work in order to allow Mr. Santora to build his building. The only particular requirement that was not made, the only particular part of the deal has not been made, is he could access off of Business 98 directly with the delivery trucks and be totally in compliant. There is nothing that prevents him from doing that. And I have pictures, but I didn't bring them, of we had a day before that there were 3 semi-trucks parked on West Street. They were there servicing the other particular building, the other thing that went into Randy's place, but they were too crowded and they didn't have enough places for them. And then I went and talked to them and I said, look, you can't park your trucks on the city street. They no longer do it. They have their own access point and they bring their trucks in just as he can have an access point. So I ask you, your loyalty is also to the citizens of Parker. We have our own little community. Not too long ago, there was somebody who wanted to put a Dollar General. I think it was either on, I can't remember which street, you know which street it was. Arrow Street. Okay, they wanted to put a Dollar General, and the citizens on that street got together and submitted a petition that said basically.
No, they didn't.
There were a number of people that.
Nobody submitted no petition. No, sir.
There were a number of people
sir.
that.
They didn't do anything.
This is being recorded.
Anyway, there were a number of people that raised the objection that we should not let 18-wheelers come down Arrow Street to backfill into that thing. And that was one of the arguments that was used for getting rid of that proposal. People didn't want it ruining their community. Okay, so I just say the same thing here. He can build his building. I think it's a good idea. I've never had a problem with Mr. Santora. But I expect him to follow the rules and regulations. And I expect a little bit of decorum from the audience.
Madam, Paul, thank you, sir. Your time is up.
I have something to say first.
Yes, ma'am.
On the Dollar General, you need to get your story straight. Because they wanted to come in on East Street, go through, come out on Arrow Street, tractor trailers all day long, anytime. They don't close till 10 o'clock. They're right there in a neighborhood, and I don't see where anybody's going to be driving by anybody's house down here. Correct. So, and besides, my name is Tanya, not Tanya, so next time please spell it right on that paper.
Go ahead and come to the podium, please.
Have you been sworn in, sir?
He was.
You'll have to excuse me. I'm getting kind of on the tail end of this wagging dog here.
Okay.
But
Name and address.
And I really.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Tony Mullinax, 920 Pitts.
Yep.
I'm not on either side here. I'm just missing an important piece of information. First of all, you know, what's written in our codes are there for a reason, and our roads need to be protected. You know, they're failing all over the place. We don't have the funds to do proper repairs. But I don't hear anything from the contractor that says we've taken these core samples and we've done DCPs and nuclear density testing, and this is the engineering load bearing capability of these roads that we're going to use. Where's that at? If you can get that and it supports, which I'm sure it won't, if it supports the vehicles and the number of passes they're going to be making on this pavement, the engineer can predict that in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, that road's going to fail. Who's going to fix it? If the city has to do a full depth repair on a 22,000 pound per axle truck, you know, those number of axles represent different numbers of passes on that road. So it's not a load issue all that much, it's a load bearing capability for the existing pavement they're gonna use. So if the contractor is willing to say, okay, hey, if that road fails in 3 months, we're gonna do a full depth repair, and that won't be on the city to do that. You're talking about going down 2 feet to remove the base, the sub base, and putting in a subgrade that'll hold that kind of weight. So, and I kinda know what I'm talking about, you know, cause I did engineering evaluations for airfield pavements for 5 years for the Air Force. So I kinda know a little bit about it, but I don't hear the information, I don't hear the scientific information that says, this is what this road will support, and we would like to use it. And if you can't do that, then it doesn't make sense for the city to have to go do that full depth repair in 3 years or 5 years, because they can't afford it anyway, you know? So, in that realm, I'm defending what the city needs to be defending, and that's the road repair that might result from it. So, you know, that said, I mean, I'm still on the cuff. I mean, I like the company, and I don't have a problem with their building, and I would like to see them be able to come here, but not at the expense of the roads, because they're already in bad shape. And I don't think there's any reason to tear them up further without some kind of assurance that we've got a payback. So,
Thank
that's
you,
my
sir.
2 cent worth. Thank
Appreciate you.
May I speak one more time? Is that a possibility?
Yes, sir.
Chuck Lockford, 5405 Fleming Street. SRM Concrete Company, right down the street, Smyrna, Tennessee. Their trucks only have 3 axles. They weigh 70,000 pounds.
Could you explain the GVW distribution on a 5-axle truck? And then everybody will know what you're talking about.
Okay, you
Because the
can't
more
have
axles you got, the less it weighs.
That's exactly right.
That's exactly right.
That's right. And it
15
goes- it
axles
really-
is no
and
weight at all.
It gets more technical than that.
It
goes
does.
into the width of the tires
It
and so
does.
forth. So 608 pounds per square inch of the tire. But anyway, regardless of all that, if Joe Blow wants a house built down the street and he gets a load of concrete, that load of concrete weighs 70,000 pounds.
You're right.
Okay. They're gonna say this man tore the roads up
No.
because he had one truck coming in.
Yeah.
Every 2
This is all just blown way out of proportion.
Yeah.
Okay, this man spent all this money to buy this piece of property. He's trying to do exactly what this country was founded on: capitalism, free enterprise, taking a big risk, not knowing if you're going to make any money or not, but you take the risk. You got to make payroll, insurance, matches, Social Security. This man right here is just nothing more than a businessman trying to fulfill his dream. Same thing that all of us that are self-employed want to do. And for them to blow this out of proportion about some damn axle on a truck without knowing what they're talking about is, for lack of a better word, just BS.
Minutia.
Minutia, I guess you should say. But there's been research done on this. You can't blame a truck going down the road on this man when he has 1 or 2 a week. And we don't know if they're 5 axles or 6 axles or 3 axles. You've got this rental place that just went in. Go look at their trucks. They've got 5-axle trucks over there. I watched them. I looked at them. Your garbage trucks, they're allowed to weigh 70,000 pounds. Cement trucks, 70,000 pounds. Dump trucks, 70,000 pounds. They have tag axles on them, but they don't ever put them down. They leave them up. It's there for show. I can't tell y'all how to vote, but I can ask y'all that y'all should really, really think about allowing this man to do this project he wants to do. And I won't talk anymore.
Thank you,
for
sir.
your time.
Appreciate the time. Okay. Name and address for the record, please.
Shirley Steffi, 1021 East Park Street.
Have
Okay,
you been
I know
sworn
what you're
in?
talking about.
Have-
This gentleman's here.
Ma'am, have you been sworn in?
No, I have not.
You got to be sworn in for the record. The clerk will swear you.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. This gentleman here that's talking about the weights and the axles and everything. I know it's confusing to a lot of people. I worked around large trucks, trash trucks, dumpsters, roll-offs. I worked around all those for 30 years. It all has to do not so much with the axle, it's the weight the truck can handle, okay? Now, yes, you can bring in 6 axles and it could weigh 80,000. You could bring in 4 axles and it's only allowed 40,000. That's just the way it is. I have to agree, though, I think it was Paul that said that it would be nice if they could get a 98 access in and out of their property. That, I think, would make everybody happy that doesn't want them on our streets. I don't want it on my street either. They are fragile. Our streets are very fragile. I don't know how old they are, but I know they're fragile. You can drive up and down here and see that we need a lot of repairs. There's a lot that needs to be done. And if you're going to add this regular weight going on, that could be an issue. My other thing is noise. Has anybody addressed the noise for the people that are going to be living?
Noise from what? Diesel trucks. We hear diesel trucks
Ma'am,
every day up and down the
when this started 2 years ago, all of these questions were addressed.
Okay, so the
They only deliver during certain times during the day. I've been to their shop in Springfield and parked across the street and watched.
Okay.
It makes no noise. It's nothing.
They just are electric hydraulic presses at Bend Middle. You can't hear it.
Is your
outside.
house right next to them?
No, ma'am, but
Now
I
there's
stood
no
on
reason
this,
to
I
jet
stood
airplanes
outside the
going
door,
back and forth.
with the doors open.
No, I know mine is.
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, right now we're having testimony, not conversation.
This group back here needs to calm down and quiet down because
Ma'am?
we can't hear.
Okay, thank you for your
I wanna
time.
hear. No, I'm not done. I still have a minute or two.
You
I'm
can't
sure.
argue in the middle of a,
I'm not trying to argue. I'm
Okay.
just trying to point out that the people who live around it may not be happy with the noise. I still think everyone would be happier if we could get our access, if this gentleman would be happy to agree to do his access off of 98. And then we wouldn't have to worry about repairing our roads.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Can I make a point real?
Well, does Mr. Theriak have any cross of that lady?
No cross, thank you, sir.
No cross, yeah.
Can I just make one point? When it comes to the axle situation, okay, say somebody buys them a brand new 3-axle 5th-wheel travel trailer, and say Bubba White takes one of his largest wreckers, and they want it brought to their house so they can show it to their wife. They're so excited they bought it. So now you're talking about a 3-axle 5th-wheel travel trailer, and then you're talking about 3 or 4 axles on Bubba White's heavy-duty wrecker. Okay, you're talking about 6, 7 axles. Now, say somebody does that once every 2 weeks. Are you guys going to kick Bubba White from driving down your roads also? That's my point. You're talking about once every 2 weeks, maybe. So, I mean, is that something that would be a problem? Because if somebody wants to buy a new 5th-wheel travel trailer that may have 3 axles, which are very large, and say they want Bubba White to deliver it to them, is Bubba White going to be kicked out from driving down somebody's city street to deliver that to them?
Okay, come to the podium, please. State your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Huy Van Vu. I live on 1135 West Street. I have not sworn in
Have
yet.
you been sworn in?
No.
Okay.
Raise your right hand.
Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Thank you.
I do. Well, I'm not arguing about anything. Because, you know, you will say that I'm biased because I'm with Mr. Palmer. I live in the same house. I'm his spouse. So I don't have the same thing, but here is the deal. I know you find it funny. Sure. Go ahead, laugh.
Pay attention to the...
And here is my deal is, okay, I have, like I said, I have nothing against the building the new business, anything, but I see I'm a runner. I run around Parker a lot. I can show my record. I run around here.
Right.
And streets around here are not good. Like Jermaine, I've been running here about 15 years. Potholes everywhere. On Astor, running down toward Pitts, water, potholes. And run down along the Pitts, pothole. Run along the Lake Drive, right along the elementary school, you know, like forever. Took you guys forever. Then fix it, then holes. Fix it, then holes. Now you fix it again. That is starting forming hole here. So I live on that street. I don't mind. You know, I don't mind having things, but I do mind have something driving there. This is what I would propose. The solution is, Mr. The new place, his place, he can drive. If he coming from the eastbound or westbound, he can take the west part, going down to 2nd Street, and along the West Street, on his property, he can build a driveway so he can get on back on 98. I watch it. It's plenty of room, and he can make it for his driveway right next to it, not you know, away from the right of way, and he can have one there, and his drive the truck. He can make it one way in, one way out, and avoid my street. He can go to West Park and go 2nd and go there. That would be. I'll be happy.
So your proposal is they come in on West Park?
Yeah, West Park.
Same as the city trucks do, right?
Yep.
And then take a right on 2nd Street. Same as the city trucks do, right?
Right.
And then go into his property.
Own driveway. He can go through.
Why couldn't he do that? He could, couldn't he?
He could do have his own driveway.
Okay. What do we do about the other vehicle?
West Street.
I hear you. The company beside his, what would happen to those vehicles there? You want them to come in West Park? That's okay. We do that, and then go down 2nd.
I don't want to go. I need to go West Park.
And
Just
then
go,
cut across
West
the
Park
backside in
and
there.
cut this that and go down. Stay away from. Just drive the driveway along the West Street.
Yep.
Not on West Street. I'll be happy.
So if he built a driveway beside West Street.
Beside West Street. Yep. And that it would not be on the city street.
Okay.
At his own property, and he'd do anything he wants.
All right.
So that's my position.
Thank you for your comment. It's a good comment. I appreciate you.
That's all.
Thank you.
You can laugh.
Yes, come to the podium, please.
Okay. So one thing that we haven't considered, and this was brought up by Terry Stryker during the original Planning Commission meeting. If you recall, he made a statement about, you know, when we make a decision affecting what our comp plan and our LDR is, we're sort of stuck with it. If we allow this to occur, now he's got a whole nother piece of property off of 2nd Avenue there, just I think it's to the south of that, okay? And right now it's not under any development, but maybe that project's gonna require a lot more trucks. So there was a lot of wisdom when the city of Parker basically made the compromise LDR to not allow the anything more than 4 wheels coming down the city streets. Now, prior to that LDR change, if you were a business on in that CRA in a commercial district, you were not allowed to have any of your traffic coming down the city streets. So the city of Parker went out of its way to compromise on that. We're only saying, geez, keep the big trucks off of there. So secondly, if we got to think not just on Mr. Santoro. What about the next occupants? What about what goes on that other piece of property? You know, maybe they're having a truck repair business and they're going to bring in much bigger trucks. So it's not the number of axles. That is the way of measuring the size. It's the size of the damn vehicles. And if you're in a residential area, you're not used to seeing semi-trucks. So that's part of the whole point. And it is not about whether or not Mr. Santoro is a good guy or not a good guy. I think he's a good guy. He's taking a risk. But
Okay.
we're also the city of Parker, the city council, and the commission has a responsibility to all of Parker. So please consider that particular viewpoint. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. If there's nobody else, yes, Mr. Santoro, go ahead.
Go ahead, sir.
Nope. You go first. I have sworn.
Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. My name is Gregory Parker, 16 Wood Avenue, on the
roads front, you know, you've already added taxes, ad valorem taxes to everyone. Are you gonna add a separate tax to pay for roads on businesses that continue to ask for changes to LDR to let them perform their job and allow the city, like he said, you know, everyone in the city, they're part of the city, y'all are part of the city, so if we're paying taxes, are the businesses paying taxes for what they're asking for?
So currently we are about to finalize an SRF loan with the state of Florida. The ad valorem tax is going to go for that SRF repay. As the pipe goes in the ground to up, you're going to see massive construction. As the pipe goes in the ground, it's part of the resurfacing project. It's pointless digging up the road and fixing it right now if it's going to have a hole dug in it and lay a pipe through it.
I absolutely agree with that.
So,
but the point of the
and we are in play. It doesn't happen overnight. It had to be bid. There were many variables. We just found out today that between the last time the job got bid and this morning, there was a $35,000 increase in the price of ductile iron. Fortunately, the company that's going to do the job, in order to keep the contractors, agreed to eat that $35,000 loss. Every day that goes by, Public Works is engaged in getting these roads taken care of, but I will not repair roads that have to be dug up again to be the new piping there. I cannot tell you why the old administrations didn't do this, but they should have done. And now we're getting to it, and we're putting new pipe in the ground.
I guess the ultimate question is, why are the citizens that aren't asking for these businesses to come in required to pay the taxes for the businesses that are destroying the roads? The businesses have taxes, but they're paying them to Bay County and not Parker. So Parker's allowing businesses.
But at your home, sir, no one tells you how to live in your property.
Huh?
No one tells you how to live on your property. In other words, how you live in your yard, the citizens of Parker don't tell you how to live.
No, this has to do with the roads.
Okay.
You're saying that a business is coming in, you've changed the LDR to where anything, the axles don't matter. So you're allowing businesses to come in with as large axles, whether it's, like she said, your Joe Blow that's running a 3 rig down with whatever, or you have 16 axles. It doesn't matter. You're allowing businesses to come in, destroy the roads, and then all of us.
Sir, the road is not destroyed. What road is he destroyed? This is speculation.
The man just said he's run down the road.
It's got nothing to do with the guy that's here tonight.
There's no tractor trailers on those roads.
There's no you can't blame a man that ain't even moved into Parker yet for something that's happened over a 15-year period of time.
What I'm stating is you are allowing businesses, the LDR is changing to allow different businesses into Parker, right?
The LDR was changed by the Planning Council to accommodate change for the future of the city.
Right. So if the LDR changes to accommodate specific areas for the city to grow, then the constituents of Parker, the Parker members, the mayor should all look at it as, okay, well, we're changing these things for businesses. We've already added ad valorem tax onto the citizens. Where's the money coming from that, I mean, like you just said, you had a contractor that had to eat a $35,000
increase
chunk of iron. So what kind of increases are we having for roads? What kind of increases are we having for
So every day that goes by that we don't get the job done, it costs more money. That's the bottom line.
Right.
I can't project what the future will bring. I can only take the bids for today.
But what I'm saying is, if you are only putting a tax on the citizens and not on the businesses that are doing more damage than the average citizen.
Well, how much property tax do you think he pays?
I have no idea. It's not my property.
Who clapped back there? Did you tell me how much tax Santoro is going to pay?
I do not know.
So why are you're proud of not knowing?
No, I'm proud. Excuse me. I'm proud that this young man is bringing it up.
I am too. I've known Mr. Parker a long time, but he's misinformed. Yeah.
You can only have one at a time.
Yeah. Time's up. I'm sorry. I'll see you soon. Anybody else before we can?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
If I may have a minute?
2 minutes. That's it. It's going on for too long.
That works for me. Thank you. I really want to focus in on this comment about why we care about axles. We raised an issue with the comprehensive plan when Mr. Santora first proposed this. Y'all amended your comprehensive plan to address the issues we raised. We raised an issue with the land development code variances that we contended did not meet. You amended your land development code to accommodate Mr. Santora. As part of your ordinance, the city adopted, this isn't something we made up. The city adopted ordinance number 2024-421. It's in your packet, it's in my binder, tab number 7. The city imposed the restriction of no more than 4 axles. It's a city imposed restriction. He could be the greatest guy on the earth, he could be Mother Teresa. It doesn't matter who the applicant is. Every applicant has to comply with your written adopted regulations. And he has the ability to have direct access to 98 if he redesigns the site to have that access.
Mr. Thornton, let me ask you, who came up with the 4-axle rule?
Y'all did.
Who? Who specifically?
Oh, I have no clue.
I think that what they were talking about at the time was there is delivery and there is removal of manufactured goods. So a trailer, I'm being told this, and a truck, pickup truck, is 4 axles. You place your order, they make the panels, they put them on the trailer, and the pickup truck leave. That's 4 axles.
This says deliveries.
They're delivering the materials from the building that he's proposing to build to the site that it's going to be used on.
The property must have a direct vehicular access to a state or federal road or highway without the use
of city
any
roads,
city streets for
right.
deliveries.
Okay.
By vehicles having more than 4 axles.
And what did we decide, Mr. Sloan? Was there a...
Well, I would point out, Mayor, that the Planning Commission recognized that there would potentially be an operational issue. Mr. Santoro testified in the Planning Commission that perhaps one delivery every 2 weeks in a vehicle that he doesn't control would deliver to his property.
Right.
The Planning Commission at that time recognized that was an operational issue. It's not about his construction, not development order construction. It was an operational issue. It had to do with the operation of businesses. Now, the Planning Commission also recognized that there were other businesses that already existed in the city of Parker that had deliveries from trucks with more than 4 axles in the sub areas of the CRA. And at that time, the Planning Commission recognized that as an operational concern and committed to looking into making further changes to the city's LDR to accommodate those other deliveries, which are being made, as I understand it, by semis, tractor trailers.
Food delivery trucks.
So that had been recognized by the Planning Commission. They are going to be looking at it going forward, but they perceive that as an operational issue that if it existed, that he could be cited for a violation.
For a code violation, yeah.
But it was not a development issue, which is what they were looking at as a part of the development permit application.
Okay.
Mr. Sloan, may I complete my statement?
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
Thank you. Your own staff said this parcel should be constructed with an access road into the site for 4-axle vehicles making deliveries. Please revise site plan to comply with this requirement. This comment is not addressed. Page 2, number 3. So your planning review comments recognize this as a site plan issue, not an operational issue. And the comments that were made at the Planning Commission that there were other deliveries, those are not light manufacturing. The 4-axle requirement only pertains to light manufacturing. The applicant can design this site to comply with this requirement. You have already amended the rules twice. Now he's going to ask you to amend them 3 times. You can say, you got a great project. Just give us direct access to 98, and we'll all go home. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Skorak, go ahead, sir.
continue to go in circles because for some reason there is a gentleman in his group who doesn't want this. I've done everything in my power. I've said I would put in a new water line for the city of Parker. I've said over and over the things that I would do. I've said the reason that I've asked not to put this building out on the front so that we could do development there to enhance the look as you drive down 98. I've never said that every truck that was come in there was going to be 5 axles or more. But I'm never going to stand in front of this commission, nor the planning commission, and absolutely tell you a lie. I've worked diligently over the last 2 years to do everything in my power. And you have some residents in this city who are short-sighted. The amount of money and the amount of investment that we're going to make in this city would do more than pave a street. I didn't know a single person in Parker before I came to Parker to do this development. I've never offered not one person, one penny to help me or get approval for this job or this project. My name by some of these people have been blasted out here and said some of the most irresponsible things. Mr. Palmer has caused detriment to the success of this city from the time that he first sat there to the time that he called me personally to even today, of allowing this city to move forward. It doesn't matter what we do, he's going to have a problem with it. I request that this project be approved so that we can move forward with allowing Parker to be better next year than it is today.
Thank you, sir. Did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, sir. Also need to be sworn in.
Okay. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes. My name is Marcus McCluskey. I live at 505 North 9th Street. This is my very first city meeting I've ever been in. And what one to be at, right? I'm standing back here just observing and trying to learn, you know, be a public, you know, be part of the public in the city and do my part. I want to thank you for coming up here and talking just now. I wanted to hear more from you about what you plan to do. So, from, you know, this being my very first, I feel like I have a opportunity to, you know, outside looking in here on how the city works and the emotion that people have about things going on in their city. I hear a lot about the roads around here, and I have dented my car many a time on these roads, but I feel like that's a totally separate issue compared to bringing business into the city. So I think every time I drive by this piece of land over here, I think it's a gorgeous piece of land, and it's just sitting there stagnant. I feel like this city has been stagnant a little bit in trying to come up and be a net positive for the community and for its citizens. If I was a businessman coming in here for the first time, wanting to bring business to the city, I would be shocked. I wouldn't want to bring my business to this city at all. I think...
Sir, can I ask you how long you've lived here?
I've lived here a year.
A year?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I don't see the harm in bringing business that will help the city.
Absolutely.
Paying property tax, just like we pay tax. And bringing more foot traffic into this town is, I think, what will bring more money to this town and more business. So I'm so sorry that you have to go through this. But,
Okay.
I'm done.
Thank you, sir. All right, we've heard everybody's, each side of this, and I guess now we're just long we're down to.
Well, I just want to make sure, Mr. Theriak.
Mr.
do you have
Theriak,
any
is there anything else?
questions for any of the witnesses that have testified today?
Thank you, Mr. Sloan. I have no questions.
Okay, sir, thank you.
So
Oh.
you would, at this point, Mayor, you have an application
Yeah.
pending that you can either.
For a development order, we need a motion in a
You
second,
can
right?
either-
I'd like to make a point as far as the axles are involved. I
Yeah.
remember this going to planning committee years back. It was mainly concerned to high density residential areas,
Right.
such as Donaldson Point and such
Right.
other places, such so on and so forth, to keep the semi trucks out of
Right.
areas like that. But the area he's trying to build,
Nothing there.
There's no residential areas hardly where the
It's a
the
cemetery
trucks
and a
are
fire
gonna be
station.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think nobody's in the cemetery.
And another thing that I wanted to bring up is the one thing about tractor trailers in Parker that won't be affected by what he's doing is if you ever drive around Parker, we had more oak trees 6 years ago. But if you ever drive around Parker, especially out in the point, you can't drive a tractor trailer through there because the top of the truck will hit those trees as it goes through there. Boats hit them and they go through there. Most of Parker, it was worse. It was heavier before the hurricane, but it's still heavy today. But anyway,
You know, of course, on top of that as well, I mean, before the hurricane, many millions of dollars were spent
Yeah.
trying to revive the community. That's
Yeah.
why our roads are not being paved, the pothole you see now, and that's why we still have this recurring problem with the
Right,
streets.
that's part of
We
it.
had to spend all this money to get all the debris out of the area.
That's right.
So this is my motion to approve his development order and
Okay.
get him rolling with what he's got to do.
With the standard conditions that.
Wait, I was gonna ask you one more thing about the 8-inch main. You gonna take care of the 8-inch main too, in the fire?
He's going to put one in for us.
Yes, sir, we've agreed to do that, and that is in the plans.
It is in the plan, John's first item on. So the motion will be for approve the development order as with what?
With the standard conditions.
Yeah, with standard conditions. We need a first, which we have. We'll need a second.
I'll make a second.
We have a first and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Ms. Barrow?
Yes.
Ms. Waterford?
Yes.
Mr. Chappell?
Yes.
Mr. Haney?
Yes, ma'am.
And Mayor Kelly?
Yes. Thank you, council.
I would like to say, thank you, Mr. Santoro, for picking Parker to put your business there.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Mr. Theriak, also for coming up here tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Representing
your
your side. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. We're going to go on to item 4. Mr. Santoro, please don't leave. I've got some documents I need to give you. The planning board recommendations for the East Bay Apartments. Have you reviewed that? I haven't had a chance to even read this. It took me forever to read this other one.
Yeah, I haven't reviewed the dedication language, Mayor. So,
Me too. I haven't had so much to read today.
I need to go home
It's under this
to,
last.
What is it they're wanting to adjust?
they want, they're asking the council to approve a plat.
I'll give you a call.
And,
That was just changed. Is anybody here from East Bay Apartments that can speak? Reference your
Kind of vehicle I have to try to get in and out of it.
no,
you
no.
need the presentation from the applicant.
Yeah, we have to have a presentation from the applicant. If there's nobody here, we'll move it to another night.
Only 5
So,
minutes.
you need a motion.
Chief, is there anybody out there?
Table it to the next meeting.
Chief, is there anybody out there from the apartments, East Bay Apartments? No?
So you would need a motion to table it to the next meeting.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we table it.
We have a first. Can I get a second? We have a second. Call a roll, please.
Ms. Barrow?
Yes.
Ms. Waterford?
Yes.
Mr. Chapel?
Yes.
Mr. Haney? Yes. Mayor Kelly?
Yes. Item 5 is the planning board, what is it? I can't really read it. Planning recommendations, yeah. Recommendations for requests for lot split. Do you have that before you?
I think Mr. Farrell is here.
Mr. Farrell? Hey, how you doing, sir? Come on up. You know, we can get a lot more done when people show up, you know. Hopefully it won't be as rough as the last 4 or 5,
No, it
right?
should be easy, I hope.
And Madam Clerk, if you'll swear in.
Yes. Swear in. Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Mr. Sloan, you're up.
All right, Mayor, this came before the Planning Commission at a meeting, and they have recommended approval of the lot split. You have the lot split before you. The issue that they discussed somewhat was the access to the back, and I believe that's depicted on your drawings here. It'll be a private access, it won't be a public access, correct?
Correct.
So the recommendation of the planning council was to recommend approval of the.
Is
lot
Mr.
split.
Summerlin here?
Well, I got it.
Yes, is he?
Yes, he is. He's in
The
the
way I'm seeing it, and I've been over there and looked, and which I drive by all the time, but if you build 2 houses on the front, and then you're gonna build something in back, and then make a little road, I'm assuming, big enough just to get down to the other ones. That's kinda dangerous, trying to.
I don't
build
see the
some-
fire protection in there either.
Building something down in there and trying to get trucks down in there and somebody else trying to get, it doesn't look,
I have a better diagram that shows what the plan would be overall, and so it'll be the same width as a normal street,
Paved?
paved, yes, with concrete or asphalt, and it will have a cul-de-sac. It'll all be private, and it will have a shared easement, maintenance agreement between the 4 neighbors that would be there. All of the homes would be facing inward to the private road. In a permitting process, we're fine if there's something we need to do different from a fire protection standpoint.
Well, you would need to give the city an easement for access in there.
For the hydrants and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
and the water
private
lines.
road, you need to give the city access to get in and out of there as they need to.
Yeah, typically we would work with fire to make sure that we meet the distance requirement from where there is a hydrant, and if not, then make sure we're compliant with that. But
That piece of property, how many yards, is that off, Mr. Summerlin, does that run off 11th?
Yes.
How many yards, how many feet is it from 11th to the back of that property?
Well, from this first lot to the second lot, it's be an additional 150 feet to the back 2 houses.
From 11th to the back of the lot, if you had to put a full lay in there, how many?
I know it's 100.
800 feet?
I know it's 100 feet from the road to the first property line. As you're drawing, you can see what the total lot depth is.
Okay. So you wouldn't put a hydrant on that road?
I don't think that it would require it, but we're completely open to it if needed. So typically, I'm not sure what the city requirement here is, but normally we, like if you built an 8-plex type townhouse building, those are 120 feet long. Sometimes we'll fire sprinkler those as needed, but
Yeah.
typically we don't need 100-foot distance wouldn't require a hydrant if there's access to one on 11th.
On 11th Street. Is there one on 11th?
There's a fire hydrant there, yes.
On 11th. Do you know what size the line is feeding it?
6 inch.
That's a 6. So how many yards you want to lay in? 800 feet on a 6-inch line? You want me enough water coming out the other end?
You want me to address council?
It's what?
Address the council.
Yeah, come and address the council. You can't lay a 3-inch, 2.5-inch line 800 feet and get any water.
So I have not seen this drawing, but after he'd come to planning, Mr. Sloan had reached out to me to look at this project. And I have looked at the project, but like I said, the partial split here is kind of a little bit like circumventing a subdivision review.
Oh.
And where the subdivision review would come into place is where it would be a cul-de-sac and it would be a width proper road and all that. You know, but like I said, I haven't seen this document. All I've seen was what was submitted. I do know, like I said, from the property line where the fire hydrants are located to the back corner would be 150 additional feet.
That's not much.
To that back property, which isn't much. But there again, what is this width proposed now?
This will be 22 feet.
Okay, so a city road is 50. It's 30 in the center, 10 on each
With the
side for the
right
right
of
way.
way. Right, yeah.
So there again, like I said, the one thing you need to look at with this is if you do the lot split, is this will be a minor development. It won't go back to planning and it won't come back to y'all. It'll be a single family home minor development review.
With 4 houses.
With 4 houses. It won't get reviewed for fire protection. It won't get reviewed for the stormwater. It won't, you know, so you have to.
Isn't the back of that lot, doesn't that flood?
The lady in the back corner of Rochelle has already come to the city twice concerned about the elevation.
The property beside it, there's a berm, if I'm not mistaken. Wouldn't it run past that berm?
There's a ditch beside the property.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of a berm.
So we shared additional grading. We spent a whole bunch of money with an engineer to plan it out. And you can see the dirt over there right now. So
Yeah,
we
yeah,
plan
yeah.
to elevate it significantly. The finished floor elevation of these homes will be at least 12 inches above the crown of 11th. So that's about a 3-foot raise on the part of this property that floods, and that's per our conversation.
Yeah.
We're concerned about making sure that we're above any sort of flooding issue.
Yeah, because I don't want you to build something and push the water onto the neighbors that's already there.
Absolutely. So,
Mr. Summerlin, what's your recommendation?
Well, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen this document he has here. The document he has here basically shows this kind of as a subdivision. It's a cul-de-sac.
Has it been to Mrs. Moore for review like that?
None of this has, because this
Oh.
is only here for a lot split.
Okay.
This isn't here for review. So that's where I'm trying to
yeah,
say that.
essentially we're splitting 2 lots
Correct.
and into flag lots, but we're doing it in a way that feels more like a subdivision. It provides a place for families and kids to play on a private road, play basketball, and stay off the street on 11th.
Who's responsible for all the road?
This is private, so this is a shared maintenance easement that would be
So that would be
required.
considered like an HOA.
So it would be an HOA,
It's
wouldn't it?
not
Like an HOA, but
like
it-
an HOA, but
Yeah, but that's the
so-
problem.
Because, I mean, all the utilities will go down the road, correct? Water and sewer.
No, we have access to utilities for these 2 off of
Correct.
11th, and then we would have a 6-inch line that.
We should have had
through
this before
easement.
tonight.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, the utilities, the water and the sewer that goes to the cul-de-sac.
Ms. Moore's gonna have to review that. Anchor Engineering's gonna have to look at
So,
that.
We've been going on for 4 months now.
Mhm.
So I mean, I gotta be careful.
No, you don't. Tell what you
Well,
say.
I mean, so we're a new development company here in the area.
Right.
And I love Parker. I love Callaway.
Yeah.
We're passionate about helping make a difference
Right.
in these areas, in these communities. But from an investment standpoint, at this point, I would probably withdraw the application and sell the land and go somewhere else, because we can't, it's been a rough lot split process for us. And so we want to be here, but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't make sense for us to take 6 months to get a simple lot split done.
Okay. Anything, council? Me personally, I feel like it needs to go to the engineer.
Yeah, and I respect that. That's okay.
You know, I mean, I can't let anything be built in Parker that floods other people's homes. I can't.
And we're not saying we would do that. So normally we'd submit a building package. In that package, you would have a detailed grading and drainage plan for each home.
Mhm.
We would also submit, we have a comprehensive overall subdivision. what I call subdivision grading and drainage plan, so you can see how it all works together.
Mr. Summerlin, what are you telling me? Give me some advice. Don't run away.
Review a lot split. I mean, I haven't had a chance to review anything else. You're here to make a decision.
Well, we haven't seen what he's got either.
Right, so we need to probably move it to
I
a,
just think we need to table
postpone it for 2 weeks?
Will you get a copy of that to the clerk?
Yeah, we'll work on that. We'll decide. I don't know that we're gonna continue on with the project, so.
Okay.
So, yeah, appreciate your time.
Do we need a motion? I'll make a motion.
Yeah, we motion to table. We have a second? Got a second? Call a roll, please.
Ms. Barrow?
Yes.
Ms. Boderford? Yes. Mr. Chappell?
Yes.
Mr. Haney? Mayor Kelly?
Yes. Thanks.
Okay, yeah,
We'll get
thank
back
you
with you.
all.
Okay. And surplus items. Tony's got a field full of them. We want to put them to auction.
Well, I make a motion, go ahead and let him put them in auction.
Okay. Got a first and a second?
You're declaring them surplus.
Surplus.
And putting them in auction.
Great.
What he said.
Ms. Barrow?
Yes.
Ms. Boderford? Yes. Mr. Chappell?
He said yes.
Yes.
Mr. Haney?
Yes.
And
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Thanks. All right. Do you have anything you want to discuss before you leave, Mr. Chappell?
I got two things.
Okay, you can have one. Go ahead.
You know, Easter is coming up in April, so we need to start thinking about Easter eggs, candy, and stuff like that, and having a committee together to take care of that. The other thing is the pavilion up there on the playground area. We're trying to work to
I'm gonna get him over here.
to
on my
start
side.
having yard sales the first of the month in April. I don't know if we'll get there yet, but that's going to be a community yard sale, and there's going to be 24 spots up there that we can use. So you might want to think about that too. So that's all.
Mr. Chapel, what day are you looking for?
Can I make an announcement?
Independent, yeah. Go ahead, ma'am.
Sorry, what, oh, you said the first of the month.
What
Yeah,
day?
I heard that, but like the first Saturday, the first Sunday, is it gonna be a weekend?
Well,
Any
I
thoughts?
thought we might just try the first Saturday of the month and see how that works out. If it looks like it's an overflow or something like that, I mean, we can build on it. But just to get the community aware that there's a yard sale kind of on a monthly basis. And we're also going to try to have farmers market also.
Go ahead, sir.
I'd like to make an announcement. My next door neighbor, Sandy Childers, passed away yesterday of a heart attack.
Oh, no.
And just for anybody that knew her or knew about it, I'd like to at
Tony,
least
did
make that
you?
He
announcement.
just told me earlier.
Yes, so you would know.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome. Prayers
Thank you,
for the
brother.
family.
John, you're up. Nothing. Thank you, man. Miss Barrow, Tanya.
Okay. That's fighting words now.
She said this fight works.
It is. I can't remember what I was going to talk about, but never.
Be all right.
It messed her up.
You have anything?
Nope.
I have nothing. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you coming, participating. Is this for his DO, right?
Oh. 7 o'clock. I don't even have one.
So which one is the correct one? Development order.
No, you know what?
Can we make him a copy tonight? We can. Make him one too.
I mean, you might want to keep the newest one and kind of go with the old one. Just in case you want to go back on something. If we, like some of this, we got to go back.
Absolutely. No, because you don't need a GVW of 80,000 pounds. That's ridiculous. But 5 axles is a tractor trailer. 1, 2, 3, 4.